The morning fog rolled off San Francisco Bay as I pulled into the parking garage beneath the Meridian Creative Tower. Same spot, row C, space 47. I'd been parking there for 8 years, long enough to watch the startup district transform from empty warehouses to gleaming tech campuses. The building itself tells the story of that transformation. What started as a converted textile warehouse now houses 3 floors of creative agencies, a rooftop yoga studio, and enough craft coffee stations to caffeinate a small city. I'd love to know which corner of the globe you're watching from. And if this story speaks to you, make sure to subscribe. Tomorrow's video is one you absolutely can't miss. The elevator carries the faint scent of yesterday's catered lunch mixed with fresh paint. They were always renovating something on the upper floors. The walls are lined with awards from the past decade: Ken Lyons, One Show Pencils, Webby. Awards, all testament to campaigns that launched from the workstations I'm about to pass. As the elevator climbs, I catch glimpses through the glass walls of each floor: designers hunched over tablets, account managers on phone calls, editors fine-tuning video cuts that will reach millions of people. The elevator dings softly at the 5th floor, and I step into the familiar chaos of organized creativity. The reception area sprawls before me with its living wall of succulents, industrial pendant lighting, and a reception desk made from reclaimed shipping containers. Sophia, our receptionist, waves from behind dual monitors displaying the day's visitor schedule and social media feeds for our active campaigns. I badge in through the security turnstiles and head to my workstation, weaving between clusters of standing desks where the morning shift is already in full swing. The open office concept means I can see across the entire floor: motion graphics specialists adjusting animations frame by frame, copywriters staring at blank screens waiting for inspiration to strike, data analysts poring over campaign performance metrics that will determine million-dollar budget allocations. My workspace sits in what we call the nerve center, a cluster of desks positioned strategically between the creative teams and the client services area. From here, I can monitor the digital pulse of 47 active campaigns simultaneously. The dual 32-inch monitors flicker to life, displaying the familiar dashboard I'd built from scratch during the early pandemic months when everything went remote and traditional project management tools couldn't handle our complexity. Meridian Creative isn't just another marketing agency, we're what happens when creative vision meets technical execution at enterprise scale. Our client roster reads like a Fortune 500 directory: automotive giants launching new electric vehicle lines, tech companies rolling out revolutionary products, pharmaceutical companies educating consumers about breakthrough treatments. The work that flows through this office reaches hundreds of millions of people annually, shaping conversations, driving purchasing decisions, and sometimes even influencing cultural movements. My name is Jesse David, and my official title is Campaign Operations Specialist, though that doesn't really capture what I do. I'm the person who translates big creative ideas into executable technical reality. When an account manager promises a client that their new product video will simultaneously launch on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, and their corporate website while triggering personalized email campaigns to 2.3 million segmented prospects, I'm the one who makes that actually happen. The work requires a unique blend of technical expertise and creative problem solving. I understand both the artistic vision that drives our campaigns and the technological infrastructure that delivers them. I speak fluent creative director, understanding concepts like brand voice, visual hierarchy, and emotional resonance, but I also speak fluent system administrator, database architect, and API integration specialist. The coffee machine in the break room gurgles its morning symphony as I settle into my routine. Steam rises from the industrial espresso machine that cost more than most people's cars, a necessary investment when you're asking creative minds to produce their best work on tight deadlines. The break room itself reflects our company culture: exposed brick walls lined with vintage campaign posters, a communal table made from a single piece of redwood, and windows overlooking the bay where morning commuter ferries trace white wakes across dark water. I return to my desk with a ceramic mug, one of the few personal items in my otherwise minimal workspace, and begin reviewing overnight alerts. The monitoring dashboard shows the usual symphony of automated processes: social media schedulers posting content across 12 time zones, email marketing systems delivering personalized campaigns to millions of subscribers, inventory management systems tracking promotional products for upcoming launches, and analytics platforms collecting performance data from hundreds of active campaigns. Nothing major in the overnight reports: a few server notifications indicating routine maintenance windows, a client requesting emergency access to their analytics portal for a board presentation, some routine maintenance on the backup systems that ensure we never lose work. I clear each alert methodically, the same way I've done every morning since joining Meridian in 2016, back when the company had 30 employees and our biggest client was a local wine distributor. Today, Meridian employs 240 people across 4 offices and manages campaigns with budgets that rival Hollywood blockbusters. The transformation has been remarkable, but it's also created layers of complexity that most people don't see or understand. As I work through the morning checklist, I notice something that makes me pause. Marcus Webb's pristine white Tesla Model S is occupying its designated spot in the executive parking section, clearly visible through the floor-to-ceiling windows. The car itself tells a story, every line screams precision, efficiency, and expensive optimization. It's the automotive equivalent of Marcus himself, sleek, modern, and designed to impress anyone watching. Marcus is our new VP of Operations. Hired 6 weeks ago with promises of revolutionary efficiency optimization and next-generation workflow integration. His LinkedIn profile reads like a consultant's dream: MBA from Wharton, 8 years at McKinsey & Company, specialized expertise in operational transformation and strategic cost optimization. He came from Manhattan, where he'd spent the last 3 years helping Fortune 500 companies right-size their operational footprint, corporate speak for finding creative ways to eliminate jobs while increasing productivity. During his first week, Marcus scheduled one-on-one meetings with every department head and several individual contributors. When my turn came, he'd sat across from me in the small conference room we call the fishbowl, because of its glass walls, tablet open, taking notes with the focused intensity of someone conducting a performance audit. "Tell me about your role." "Here," he'd said, stylus poised over his screen. I'd explained the campaign operations platform I'd built, how it coordinates between creative teams, account management, media buyers, external vendors, and client approval systems. I'd showed him the dashboard interface, the reporting capabilities, the automated workflow triggers that keep dozens of campaigns moving simultaneously without human intervention. He nodded occasionally, asking questions about user counts, system costs, vendor dependencies, and potential optimization opportunities. When I mentioned that the system processes roughly 2,000 daily transactions across 47 active client accounts, he'd made a note and asked about scalability bottlenecks and modernization timelines. The thing about Marcus is that he believes in what he calls strategic redundancy elimination, a philosophy that views operational efficiency through the lens of cost reduction rather than capability preservation. Translation: identify anything that looks like it could be done cheaper by someone else, and eliminate the internal resource. He's been making rounds through every department for weeks now, armed with spreadsheets and pie charts, identifying what he terms operational inefficiencies and modernization opportunities. His approach is methodical and data-driven. He measures everything: how many people use each system, how much each system costs to maintain, how many external vendors could potentially replicate the functionality, and what the projected savings would be. What he doesn't measure, and what his spreadsheets can't capture, is the institutional knowledge that prevents disasters, the subtle integrations that keep everything working together, and the hidden complexities that only reveal themselves. When something breaks, I pull up my project tracking system, the crown jewel of my 8 years at Meridian. What started as a simple spreadsheet to track campaign deadlines has evolved into a comprehensive platform that serves as the nervous system for our entire operation. The interface looks deceptively simple: clean lines, intuitive navigation, color-coded status indicators that anyone can understand at a glance. Click a campaign name and you see all deliverables, deadlines, responsible parties, client communications, and approval status. It's designed to make complex operations feel effortless. A lot of love and effort went into bringing this story to life. If you're enjoying it, we'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to our channel. Now, back to where we left off. But beneath that user-friendly surface lies an intricate ecosystem of interconnected systems. The platform coordinates with our creative asset management system, ensuring that approved logos, brand guidelines, and creative materials are automatically distributed to every team member working on a campaign. It integrates with our time tracking system, so accurate billing happens automatically. It connects to our vendor management platform, coordinating with freelance designers, video editors, media buyers, and specialized agencies. The system talks to our client portal, updating project status in real time so account managers always have current information during client calls. It feeds data to our analytics dashboard, tracking campaign performance across multiple channels and automatically generating reports that inform strategic decisions. It coordinates with our inventory management system for promotional products, ensuring that branded merchandise arrives exactly when campaigns launch. Most importantly, it connects to our billing and payment systems, automatically triggering invoices when deliverables are approved and processing vendor payments according to contracted terms. This financial integration alone processes millions of dollars annually, with precision that would be impossible to maintain manually. The funny thing is, nobody really understands how deeply integrated this ecosystem has become with everything else we do. They see the user interface, the clean dashboard, the simple click to update status indicators, the intuitive project navigation. What they don't see is the underlying architecture that required years to develop and maintain, hundreds of API connections, custom scripts that handle edge cases, automated backup procedures that ensure we never lose work, and fail-safe mechanisms that keep campaigns running even when individual components experience problems. It's like an iceberg. The visible part that users interact with represents maybe 20% of what actually exists. The other 80% is invisible infrastructure, code that runs silently in the background, ensuring that when someone clicks Approve Final Design, that approval automatically flows to 12 different systems, updates 6 different databases, triggers 4 different notification sequences, and initiates 3 different automated processes. Marcus has been asking increasingly pointed questions about what he calls legacy systems and modernization opportunities. Last week, during a department meeting that ran long into the afternoon, he pulled up a slide titled Operational Streamlining Targets. The presentation was polished, with animated transitions and professionally designed graphics that probably cost more to create than most people's monthly salary. My campaign operations platform was prominently featured under a section labeled Potential Consolidation Candidates. When I'd raised my hand to mention the integration complexities and the years of institutional knowledge embedded in the system, Marcus had waved dismissively and launched into a practiced explanation about cloud-native solutions and vendor partnerships that could provide superior functionality at reduced overhead. The beauty of modern SaaS platforms, he'd said, clicking to a slide showing logos of various enterprise software vendors, is that they eliminate the need for custom development and maintenance. We can transition to best-in-class solutions that provide better functionality while reducing our operational burden. When I'd asked about data migration timelines and integration testing procedures, he'd smiled that practiced corporate smile and said something about agile implementation methodologies and seamless transition planning. No specifics, no technical details, just buzzwords delivered with the confidence of someone who's never had to make systems actually work together in the real world. The morning team huddle convenes in the glass conference room overlooking the bay. Marcus enters with his signature confident stride, tablet in hand, wearing a charcoal suit that probably costs more than my monthly rent. He launches into his prepared remarks about Q4 objectives and right-sizing our operational footprint. Then, he clicks to a new slide, Resource Reallocation Initiative. My stomach tightens as I recognize what's coming. The slide shows various job functions arranged in colored boxes. Some are marked Core Function, others Growth Investment. A third category, highlighted in red, reads Optimization Opportunity. Marcus speaks in that practiced corporate tone, each word carefully chosen. We're transitioning to a more agile operational model. This means identifying areas where external vendors can provide superior efficiency at reduced overhead. He gestures toward the red boxes on his slide. Certain specialized functions will be transitioned to best-in-class service providers. I sit perfectly still, hands folded, watching faces around the room. Some nod along, others stare at their phones. Nobody asks the obvious questions. Which vendors? What's the timeline? How will existing systems integrate? These aren't casual concerns, they're fundamental operational requirements that could make or break every active campaign. After the meeting, I return to my desk and open a secure text file I keep on an encrypted drive. It's my personal documentation log, something I started years ago after a server crash nearly destroyed 3 months of work. I add today's entry, Marcus presenting consolidation plan. No technical details provided. No integration strategy mentioned. The cursor blinks steadily as I save the file. Some people document their lives in photos or journals. I document mine in system logs and backup procedures. It served me well over the years, especially during those moments when institutional memory becomes the only thing standing between order and chaos. My phone buzzes with a text from my friend Rachel, who works in HR. Can you swing by my office later? Need to discuss some upcoming changes. The message has that careful neutrality that HR people perfect, friendly on the surface, procedural underneath. I finish reviewing the morning reports and lean back in my ergonomic chair, looking out at the San Francisco skyline. Somewhere in those glass towers, other companies are making similar decisions, streamlining operations, eliminating redundancies. It's the natural evolution of business, they say. Adapt or become obsolete. What they don't understand is that some systems aren't redundant, they're foundational. And foundations, when removed carelessly, have a way of taking everything else down with them. 3 days later, I'm deep in troubleshooting a client integration when my phone lights up with a text message. The sender is Marcus Webb. The message is brief: Jesse, please clean out your desk by the end of day. HR will coordinate final details. Thanks for your service. MW. I read it twice. Then a third time. Not a phone call, not an in-person meeting. Not even a formal email through company channels. A text message. Like he's canceling dinner plans. I screenshot the message and save it to my encrypted drive, then lock my phone and place it face down on my desk. The office around me continues its normal rhythm: keyboards clicking, phone calls, the distant hum of the coffee machine. Nobody else has received a life-changing text message at 2:17 p.m. on a Thursday. 20 minutes later, Rachel appears at my cubicle with a manila folder and an expression that tries to balance sympathy with professional distance. Jesse, I'm sorry about the circumstances. Could we chat in my office? The walk to HR feels longer than usual. Rachel closes the door and gestures to the chair across from her desk. The paperwork is straightforward: final paycheck, COBRA information, non-compete reminders, equipment return checklist. Standard termination protocol, executed efficiently. Can I ask what prompted this? I keep my voice level, curious rather than confrontational. Rachel shifts in her chair. Marcus felt your role had become redundant with some of our new vendor partnerships. The decision came from his operational review. She pauses. I want you to know this wasn't performance related. Your work has always been exemplary. I sign the papers methodically, reading each page despite knowing what they contain. At the bottom of the equipment return form, I notice something interesting: my system access is scheduled for deactivation at 6 p.m. today. That's unusual. Typically, IT cuts access immediately upon notification. Someone requested a delayed shutdown. Will there be a knowledge transfer session? I ask. The campaign management system has some specific protocols that might not be immediately obvious to a replacement. Rachel checks her notes. Marcus mentioned they're transitioning to an external management platform. He felt a transfer wouldn't be necessary. I nod and stand up. Of course. Well, I appreciate everything, Rachel. You've always been straight with me. Back at my desk, I have 3.5 hours before my access expires. I open my system and begin a process I never thought I'd need: comprehensive documentation export. Every workflow, every integration point, every custom script and automated process. I compress it all into encrypted files and transfer them to my personal cloud storage. Then I do something I've never done before: I access the system's administrative backend and review the complete dependency map. It's a visual representation of how every component connects to every other component. The web of connections is staggering, even to me. Client databases feed into billing systems. Billing systems trigger payment processing. Payment processing updates inventory management. Inventory management coordinates with vendor APIs. Vendor APIs report back to client dashboards, remove any single critical node, and the cascade effects are unpredictable. I take screenshots of the dependency map and save them alongside my documentation. Then I review the system's access logs: who's been using what features, when, and how frequently. The data tells a clear story: every single active campaign relies on at least 7 different system components. The average campaign uses 12. Marcus has been watching my system's usage for weeks, but he's only been looking at the surface metrics. He sees that I'm the primary user of the campaign management platform and assumes that means it's a single-person operation. What he doesn't see is that the platform coordinates with 17 other systems, and those systems are used by 43 different people across 6 departments. Around 4 p.m., I start receiving messages from colleagues who've heard about my departure. Most are surprised. I wasn't on anyone's layoff list. A few offer job leads and LinkedIn connections. Sarah from the creative team stops by with a coffee and stays to chat. She mentions that Marcus has been asking about transitional coverage for my responsibilities. What did you tell him? I ask. That I use your system every day but I don't know how it works, she laughs. I just click buttons and things happen. Is that bad? That's exactly how it's supposed to work, I tell her. Good systems should be invisible. As 5:30 approaches, I gather my few personal items: a coffee mug from a client event, some technical books, a small succulent plant that survived 4 desk moves. I clean out my drawers methodically, checking twice for anything I might have missed. At 5:45, I log into the administrative panel one final time. There's a message waiting from the automated monitoring system: license renewal required for external API integrations. Current licenses expire in 72 hours. Contact system administrator for renewal processing. I stare at the message for a long moment. The external API licenses, for payment processing, client reporting, inventory management, and vendor coordination, are registered under my corporate account. But they're paid for with my personal credit card, a temporary solution from 3 years ago during a budget freeze that somehow never got corrected. I've submitted expense reports for these renewals every quarter, but the reimbursement process was always slow and complicated. Eventually, I just started paying them myself and requesting reimbursement later. It was easier than dealing with procurement delays during critical campaign launches. The licenses cost $847 per month total. Not enough to notice in a departmental budget, but essential for system operation. Without them, the APIs stop communicating, data stops flowing, and campaigns stop running. I could mention this to someone. Send an email to the IT director, leave a note for Marcus, call Rachel. A quick heads up that would prevent a major operational disruption. Instead, I close the administrative panel and shut down my computer. I pick up my box of personal items, badge out at the security desk, and walk to the parking garage. Some bridges, once burned, aren't worth rebuilding. My phone buzzes as I'm driving home across the Bay Bridge. A text from Marcus, thanks for the smooth transition. External vendors start Monday. Appreciate your professionalism. I don't reply. The countdown has already begun, whether he knows it or not. Sunday evening, 72 hours after my departure, I'm at my kitchen table in my Oakland apartment, laptop open, herbal tea steaming in the mug that reads, World's Okayest Developer. The view from my window shows the Bay Bridge lit up against the night sky, a stream of headlights moving between cities where people are living their lives, unaware that tomorrow might be different than they expect. My phone shows 3 missed calls from the Meridian Creative main line. I don't call back. Instead, I open my laptop and navigate to the client portal system I built. The login page loads normally, but when I try to access the admin dashboard, I get a message I've never seen before, service temporarily unavailable. Please contact your system administrator. I check the API status dashboard from my personal bookmarks. Payment processing, offline. Inventory management, offline. Client reporting, offline. Vendor coordination, offline. All 4 critical integrations have gone dark simultaneously. My phone rings. The caller ID shows Meridian Creative, Maine. I let it go to voicemail. 30 seconds later, it rings again. Same number. I turn the phone face down and take a sip of tea. The emails start arriving around 11 p.m. Not to me directly, my corporate account was deactivated Friday evening, but forwarded through colleagues who still have my personal email. The subject lines tell the story: urgent, client portal down. Payment processing failed, need immediate assistance. All vendor feeds offline, critical issue. By midnight, I have 17 forwarded emails, each more frantic than the last. The external vendor Marcus hired to replace my system was supposed to go live Monday morning. Apparently, they're having integration challenges with the existing infrastructure. Monday morning brings a text from Sarah in Creative. Jesse, are you available for a quick consulting call? Everything's broken and nobody knows why. Marcus is losing his mind. I reply, sorry, I'm no longer affiliated with Meridian. You might want to contact your IT department. The responses come quickly. First from Tom in Account Management, IT. Says they need the original system administrator. That's you, right? Then from Rachel in HR, would you be available for emergency consulting? We could arrange a temporary contractor agreement. I consider my options while making coffee in my French press. The professional response would be to help them out of a difficult situation, perhaps at a premium consulting rate. The human response would be to assist colleagues who are caught in the middle of someone else's poor decision-making. Then I remember Marcus's text message. Clean out your desk. Not a phone call, not a meeting, not even the courtesy of advance notice. A dismissive text sent while I was in the middle of working on his company's critical systems. I draft a reply to Rachel. I appreciate the outreach, but I'm not available for consulting work with Meridian Creative. You might want to contact the vendor who's handling your operational needs now. Best of luck. Tuesday morning, my LinkedIn profile shows 7 new connection requests from Meridian employees. My inbox has 23 forwarded emails, including several from C-level executives I've never spoken to directly. The subject lines have evolved: mission critical system failure. Client contracts at risk. Emergency restoration required. Around noon, my phone rings with a call from an unknown number. I answer cautiously. Jesse David? This is Marcus Webb. I think we need to talk. His voice lacks the confident authority I remember from team meetings. There's an edge of desperation underneath the professional facade. Hello, Marcus. How can I help you? Look, we're having some technical difficulties with our operational transition. The vendor we hired is running into some unexpected integration issues. We were hoping you might be available for a short-term consulting engagement to help smooth things over. I pause, letting the silence extend. What kind of difficulties? It's probably just some configuration settings or documentation that didn't get transferred properly. Nothing major, just need someone familiar with the legacy setup to point us in the right direction. I see. What's your timeline? Ideally today. We have some client deliverables that are time-sensitive. I walk to my kitchen window, looking out at the Tuesday afternoon traffic on the Bay Bridge. Somewhere across that water, a conference room full of people are staring at blank screens and error messages, trying to figure out how to keep their company operational. Marcus, I appreciate the call, but I'm not available for consulting work. When you texted me to clean out my desk, you mentioned that external vendors would be handling operational needs. I'm confident they'll figure it out. The line goes quiet for almost 10 seconds. Jesse, I know the departure wasn't handled ideally. If it's a matter of consulting rate, we're prepared to be flexible. This is really about helping the team out of a temporary situation. It's not about the rate, Marcus. It's about the fact that you made a strategic decision to eliminate what you called operational redundancies. This is what efficient streamlining looks like. I'm sure your vendor will have it resolved soon. I end the call and turn my phone to silent mode. By Wednesday, the situation has escalated beyond internal crisis management. A forwarded email from our biggest client, a major automotive company, indicates they're considering contract termination due to systematic service interruptions and data accessibility issues. The projected revenue impact is $2.3 million in Q4 alone. Thursday morning brings a LinkedIn message from Meridian's CEO, someone I've seen in company meetings but never spoken to directly. Jesse, I'd like to discuss a potential opportunity that might be mutually beneficial. Would you be available for a brief conversation? I respond, thank you for reaching out. I'm currently exploring opportunities with other organizations. Best wishes for resolving your operational challenges. Friday afternoon, exactly 1 week after receiving Marcus's text message, I get a call from Rachel in HR. Jesse, I wanted to let you know that Marcus Webb is no longer with the company. There have been some organizational changes, and we'd like to discuss bringing you back in a leadership role. Would you be interested in a conversation? I take a moment to process this information. Marcus, the efficiency expert who eliminated operational redundancies, has himself been eliminated as an operational redundancy. What kind of leadership role? I ask. Director of Operations. You'd have full authority over technical infrastructure, vendor relationships, and system architecture. Significant salary increase, equity participation, and a team to manage. Basically, you'd rebuild the operational foundation the way you think it should be done. The offer is tempting. Return in triumph, with expanded authority and better compensation. Prove that the systems I built were more valuable than anyone realized. Show them what happens when you eliminate the wrong redundancies, but there's something else to consider. Over the past week, while Meridian Creative has been struggling with system failures and client defections, I've been having conversations with other companies. Companies that understand the value of solid infrastructure from the beginning, rather than learning it through painful experience. Rachel, I appreciate the offer. I really do. But I think it's time for me to build something new, somewhere that values operational excellence from day one. If it's a matter of compensation package, we're prepared to be very competitive. It's not about money. It's about philosophy. You had a system that worked perfectly for 8 years. Someone decided it was redundant and eliminated it. Now you want to rebuild the same system, just with a different title attached. That tells me you still don't understand what went wrong. I pause, looking out at the Bay Bridge one more time. The right time to value your infrastructure is before you need it, not after it fails. I'm going to go work with people who already understand that. Monday morning, I start my new position as VP of Operations at a growing fintech startup in Palo Alto. My first project is building their campaign management platform from scratch. I'm calling it Foundation, a system designed to be transparent, documented, and impossible to accidentally eliminate. As for Meridian Creative, I hear through industry contacts that they eventually got their systems running again. It took 6 weeks, $250,000 in consulting fees, and they lost 3 major clients in the process. They hired a new operations team and implemented what they're calling infrastructure resilience protocols. Sometimes the best lessons are the expensive ones. And sometimes, when someone texts you to clean out your desk, the most professional response is to let them find out exactly what they just threw away. Looking for more? We've got 2 amazing stories ready for you right on screen. If this one touched you, these are absolutely worth your time. Click to watch them now. And hey, subscribe and hit that bell to never miss our latest uploads.